We just finished our Alaskan cruise and there were 6 things that surprised us. If we would have known these 6 things, we would have been better prepared. So in this video, we're going to share those things with you so you are prepared for your Alaskan cruise, and all of this is coming up. Okay, 6 things that surprised us on our Alaskan cruise that we want to share with you so you are better prepared for your cruise. That's what this episode is about. But look, if you love cruising, consider subscribing on our channel. We provide tips, tours, and money-saving techniques to help you on your cruising journey. But now, let's get right into today's content. Okay, Kelly, so kick us off with the first thing that surprised us about an Alaskan cruise.
Yeah, so the first thing that surprised us was the time change. On the very first night of our cruise, we were to set our clocks back an additional hour. Now, this was challenging for me because we're coming from the East Coast. We're flying to the West Coast to Seattle to start our cruise, so we already had 3 hours of time change. Now we're going to add an additional hour on there. It was just really hard to get my body accustomed to going from such a time difference.
Yeah, so some of you may not know this, but Alaska has its own time zone. So when you go on an Alaskan cruise, you're going to set that clock back an additional hour, and it does sort of mess with your internal clock a little bit. Also, when you're out here on the West Coast, during the time when you're sailing to Alaska, look, it gets daylight very early in the morning, and it's daylight late into the evening. There's not much nighttime there in the middle of the night where it's dark, so it does mess with that internal clock just a little bit. The second thing that surprised us about our cruise to Alaska was how frequently we saw whales. Now, you always hear about seeing whales on a cruise to Alaska, but we thought you may get to that special spot where you see 1 or 2 here and there, but literally it wasn't far into the cruise at all, and we're getting announcements over the intercom that there's whales being spotted here and there. We have saw whales so many times during this cruise. It's really, really cool.
Absolutely, and one of the recommendations we would have for you is to bring a set of binoculars. Now, I would recommend actually bringing some higher powered binoculars so you can see in a great distance. The ones we had were just an average and you could see, but get that really good pair. It will be worth it.
Another thing that's really good to have on an Alaskan cruise is a balcony stateroom, right? So when you're out there, you can just sit out there all the time and you will see whales at some point. I would almost guarantee that.
The third thing that surprised me was the rarity of sunny days. Now, we're used to Caribbean cruises where it's almost always sunny and hot, but here on our Alaska cruise, we had very few sunny days. It was gloomy, it was rainy, it was foggy. We just weren't prepared for that. It kind of changed the vibe of the whole cruise, actually.
We sort of wonder with this if the cruise we were on just had worse weather than normal. It seemed like we were having so many overcast skies, so much rain and stuff like that. So we actually asked some people when we were in Ketchikan, is this normal? And the driver on our bus, who was giving us all kinds of other good information, they said, this is definitely normal. They said that they get more than 200 and something days of rain every single year in this portion of Alaska. They gave examples of when they had 3 straight days of sunny days. They said that was so rare. And then they said after that they got a month straight of nothing but rain. So they said now if they get multiple sunny days, they know bad days are coming. I think the key thing is to expect it. Expect it's going to be overcast, seem a little dreary, maybe a little bit of rain, going to alter the plans a little bit. And then if you get some really good sunny days, you're going to be just glad that things turned out better than expected. So it sort of ties in with this. So let's go ahead and go to the 4th thing that surprised us on this Alaskan cruise, and that's the frequency of excursion changes. Now, excursion changes can happen on any cruise, but they seem to happen a little more than normal on an Alaskan cruise. Kelly, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so you really need to plan to be flexible, and again, a lot of that is based on weather. So if you have overcast skies or it's raining and there's no visibility, all of your helicopter excursions and a lot of maybe your glacier excursions that you were planning aren't going to be able to take place.
Now the cruise we're sailing on to Alaska is from the beginning to the middle of June, and one of the big things to do on a cruise to Alaska is to cruise up Tracy Arm Fjord. Now the cruise that happened before us, they did not get to do that because of icebergs that were blocking certain portions of the journey. Thankfully, we got to go up for that portion, up Tracy Arm. But you know what? a lot of things can change, so you just got to be prepared for that.
Another thing that really surprised me about our Alaska cruise is that there are bald eagles everywhere. They are so common in Alaska, it's kind of like how we would see a robin in Georgia.
Yeah, now bald eagles were not something that I was even aware would be seen on an Alaskan cruise, but indeed they are everywhere. When we were in Ketchikan, Alaska, we were on a bus heading to our excursion, and the lady was sort of giving us a tour of the area as we were driving, and she was pointing out one bald eagle after another. There's one on top of the light post, there's one on top of that building and all this. They were everywhere, and look, they are super cool. Even when we were out kayaking, we saw one, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was flying out. I mean, it was super awesome. However, I do not recall seeing any in Juneau, Alaska.
Yeah, but when we were in Juneau, Alaska, the weather was so bad. I mean, it was terrible. Like, everything was grounded. Helicopters were grounded for excursion. Bald eagles were grounded. Nothing was allowed to fly on that day. The weather was so terrible. And that brings us to the sixth thing that surprised us about an Alaskan cruise, and that is that shorts, they're not needed. Now, I brought one pair of shorts because I thought, I know it's supposed to be a little bit cooler. I looked at the weather, like maybe you have if you're sailing on your first Alaskan cruise, and I saw that the high is maybe in the low 60s and something like that. And I thought, well, but may have that sunny day, put those on and just sort of chill out. But guess what? I've got that one set of shorts that I have. They're still right over here in our stateroom. They're still right where they began. And look, there's not been a single day that I woke up and said, you know what? I may wear those shorts today. They have not been needed at all.
That's not to say that we have not seen people wearing shorts. In fact, on one of the coldest days, we saw somebody in full up t-shirt and shorts look like he was sailing to the Caribbean. And we've had people swimming. So it really depends, on how hot natured or cold natured you are, but we didn't feel like we would need them and we wouldn't bring them again.
Yeah, I would not bring a pair of casual shorts if I came again. Now, I probably would go ahead and bring a pair of swimming trunks because there are heated pools and hot tubs. We have not used those during this cruise yet, but I would bring those just in case we decided to do so.
Wait, how are we gonna block out all of the...
We have filmed a lot of videos and we have had Carnival's questionable artwork directly behind us.
Never realized it though. We should video like this from now on.
We realized during our room tour that there was questionable artwork here, but we didn't realize when we were setting it up on our couch with our little table that this questionable artwork was in every photo.
This should work. I think.
Coming up next on the next episode, we would like for you to subscribe to our channel because we're going to be talking about cruise stuff while making strange totem pole signals.
We really hope that what we have shared has helped you prepare for your upcoming Alaska cruise. Now please consider subscribing and going ahead and turning on your notification bell so you don't miss it when any new episodes come out. We've got lots more Alaska content coming for you. Thank you so much for watching. We hope to see you on the sea soon. God bless.